stop what you're doing. You folks are all smart enough to know this, but I got in a hurry, I got in a rush. I thought, I've never had a problem before, and I ignored it, and I just about cost Lisa and I in the neighborhood of $1,000. Welcome back to Shanty Acres Homestead. I wanted to give you a report of something that happened to me yesterday, and it might have actually started happening weeks ago and I did not know it. And we've entitled this, "It's Just Not Worth It," because it's just not worth it. So here's what happened. I have my good Stihl 56 RC weed eater in front of me, and this year, that thing is probably only 3 years old. This year, brand new, I bought a CS 400 Echo chainsaw. I had had the same Husqvarna 55 chainsaw for 23 years. It had been a good saw, it had never been in the shop, it had never given me any problems, and I used that thing till it just finally started giving me a little bit of trouble, and I didn't want to work on it, and it had given me plenty of years of service, so I went and bought me a new saw. It took me a long time to decide which saw to buy, because this saw is actually smaller than what I'm used to, but I don't cut firewood to burn right now anymore, mostly just cleaning up fence rows, things like that, so I bought a smaller, lighter weight saw. Now, I'm not this video has nothing to do with any of these pieces of equipment or oils or gases not being worth what I've paid for them, because this is all good product. But what happened to me was this brand new chainsaw was running terribly yesterday. I was cutting some trees in a fence line over here, and it just wasn't running very well at all, and I brought it back down to the shop. Usually when I refill it with gas, I touch up the chain, sharpen it a little bit, and I keep a rag handy with me. I always wipe things down before I put new bar oil in. I wipe around the gas lid before I pull the gas cap off and put new fuel in, and I try to take good care of this stuff. Well, I came down and I went to gas it back up. Now let me back up a little bit. I haven't used this saw in a couple of weeks, but a couple of weeks ago I poured some gas out of my mix can. This is not the factory gas that's in this can. It's marked pump gas, non-ethanol, 50-to-1 mix, 2-stroke, 50-to-1 mix. I marked it so we know what it is. This stuff I bought off the shelf and was using this when the saw was brand new. Really good quality 50-to-1 mix. Got some additives in it. And I had used this until this was all gone. Probably 3 different tanks in the chainsaw. Then I had mixed this gas and started using it, and I guess maybe the first time I used it, it just didn't seem like it ran quite right. And I remembered when I mixed the gas, when I poured my own mix oil in there, and I always look at the recipe and make sure I'm mixing it the right percentages, I noticed that it looked different. I'm used to this stuff looking really blue or real dark gray, and I noticed it looked pretty light colored, but I knew it was a different brand, something I hadn't used before, so I didn't think a whole lot about it. I mixed it up real good and went and I've always been very, very, very picky about my saws and weed eaters. I don't loan them out. I've had people ask me to loan my saws out, and I loaned one out one time. I actually at one point had a chance to buy a spare saw just like my Husqvarna 55. My brother had it, he was done with it, and I paid him $100 for it, and I thought, you know what? People ask me enough to borrow a saw. I hate telling them no, but I'm not giving them my good saw. I think most of you guys that run saws know why you don't loan your chainsaw out. But I bought this and I thought it'd be a good loaner, and the first person I loaned it to, he told me, he said, "Oh, I've cut wood my whole life, and you know the spill. And I'll take care of it. It'd be better when you get it back than it was when you loaned it to me. I'll take good care of it. I know all about the mixing. I know all about the oil." Well, about a month went by and he didn't say anything about it. I didn't get the saw back. So I asked him about it about 2 or 3 different times, and he just kept kind of avoiding the conversation. One time about 6 months into this, I showed up at his house and I said, "I need my saw back," and he gave me the saw back. I took it home. I don't know, a week or so later, I gassed it up, oiled the bar up, took it out there, fired it, went to start it up, and it wouldn't run. Wouldn't run. I couldn't get it to run. So I took it to the local saw shop and I said, "Take a look at this and see if you can get it running." They called me and they said, "It's burned up. It's had gas run through it that didn't have any oil mix in the gas. Just run straight gas through it." That's why I don't loan my saws out. But it happened, I thought yesterday it happened to me. I was the one that mixed the gas. The saw wasn't running right. It's brand new. It shouldn't be giving me problems. I came back up here. I looked at the gas. I thought, it just doesn't look right. It just doesn't look dark enough. And I put the saw down, and I had been having trouble with this weed eater not wanting to run about 2 weeks before that, and I'd used the same gas. Now, this is probably gonna surprise some of you how this shook out. But I put the saw down. I went out and got on Old Ugly over here, my tractor, and I went and started pushing some brush around, and I was just sick at my stomach. I was sure that I had burnt up that saw. And the more I got to thinking about it, I knew I'd had trouble with that weed eater before, same gas, and I was convinced that I made a rookie mistake after 25 years of running a chainsaw and weed eater. I made a rookie mistake. I got to thinking about it. I thought, I wonder if I didn't look at the recipe right and I only put half in what was supposed to have, or what could have went wrong. And I was on the tractor. I was just sick. My wife came up on the four-wheeler checking on me, see how things were going, what time I was going to quit, and I told her what happened, and I said, I'm just going to run the tractor for a while. And and she prayed about it, and I was on the tractor. I was begging the Lord, because I was looking at over $400 here. I was looking at, back then, $350 here. I said, you know, $800, $900, $1,000 worth of equipment, toast. I don't have the money to replace these two pieces, and I was just sick at my stomach. And I just begging the Lord on my tractor. I said, Lord, I can't afford this mistake. I said, I probably did do this, and I don't know if it's possible, but if it's possible, you can do it. God, would you please just let this not have ruined my tools? So I got done on the tractor. I put it up, and to kind of condense the story down, I dumped all the gas out of them, and it was pretty clear. It had a little bit of a color, but not much. I dumped all the gas out of this. I went and got a new bottle of mix. I reread the recipe here. I put good non-ethanol gas back in here. I mixed it. I shook it up. I poured it in my saw. It actually had a really red color. So I know for a fact I did not put enough oil mix in my gas. I just know what happened, and it's all on me. I can't blame it on anybody else. So I went ahead at the same time, knowing it was running rich. I went ahead and pulled the filters, cleaned the filters out, and pulled the spark plugs, put 2 new spark plugs in them. Came home tonight, started them both up. Well, actually, one I did yesterday evening was the weed eater. Started it up, did some weed eating around, and it wouldn't idle. I came home, I did the same thing with my saw. I started it up, and it would run as long as I had my finger on the throttle, but it wouldn't idle. And I was really excited, because the fact that they would run tells me they weren't locked up, they weren't seized up. And so I got online and I did a little bit of reading, and I had never adjusted this saw since it's brand new. It's just getting broke in. So I actually ended up figuring out how to adjust the high idle, and I adjusted the high idle on this. And praise the Lord, it is running, and it is idling, and it is sawing, and it's doing fine. This one's still not idling, but I went to adjust the high idle on it, and I figured out that still has a special tool required, so I'm going to need to go get that special tool. Thank you, Still, for that. Appreciate that. But I will go buy your tool and adjust that. And so I just wanted to tell you right now, if you look, here's what I mean by it's just not worth it. You look at the gas that you've mixed up, and you say, something just doesn't look right. Your gut just tells you something's not right. Whether you've mixed it in a can you already had, whether you mix it in your gas can, and you say, this is a 2 gallon, I'm mixing a gallon, whatever, something just doesn't look right. Stop what you're doing. You folks are all smart enough to know this, but I got in a hurry, I got in a rush, I thought, I've never had a problem before, and I ignored it, and I just about cost Lisa and I in the neighborhood of $1,000 that we didn't have to spend on equipment. And so, stop. And you know what? I'd rather dump that gallon of gas out and do it all over again and waste the cost of the oil and waste the cost of the gas than spend $1,000 on that. And I'll tell you, if that even makes you nervous, this is too expensive, but in the same sense, it's not. Not this brand, just whatever brand your parts store has or your farm store has. This is good stuff. In the wintertime, if it's my weed eater or lawnmower, or not lawnmower, but weed eater, they make some of this that's 4-stroke for a lawnmower, or if I think this is going to set a while, I'll pour this stuff in. It's got additives in it, and I'll let it run until it runs out, or go cut wood until it runs out, and then it's going to sit there. Generator's going to be just fine, those kind of things. So it's just not worth it. Just stop, start all over again, and don't cost yourself the sick heartache that I had last night. Here's another thing, it's just not worth it. For years and years and years, I have cut wood just like I am right now. Pair of leather gloves, pair of work boots, blue jeans, my glasses, ball cap, cut wood, and I've not had a problem. In 25 years, not had a problem. One time I was cutting some cedar trees back here, and it was drizzling rain and they were slick, and one time I slid on one of those cedar limbs and I touched my blue jeans with my chain and tore the blue jeans, didn't tear the skin. But I've seen enough, and I'm related to somebody I've seen with this. I've seen another person with this. I've seen enough people with eye injuries from cutting wood that I finally just said, you know, it's not worth the risk. These are 45, 50 bucks. I bought this one on sale. I think what triggered me to buy it, it was actually on sale when I bought it. But I finally went ahead and bought me a protective helmet, a hard hat, and face shield, and earplugs are all right there. I haven't gone to the shops yet, and I probably will go to the shops eventually, get those. But, you know, it's not worth a little bit of pride because you won't wear a hard hat or face shield or safety glasses or a pair of leather gloves. It's not worth your time that you don't want to run down to the shop and get them. You're just going to do some little project. I know people that's lost eyes from certain injuries. I know people that have had major eye injuries and head injuries. And I just decided it's not worth it. I'm going to go ahead and get the equipment, get the gear, and I'm going to protect myself and take care of my body. I've got grandkids now. I've got a wonderful wife and 2 wonderful kids, and now 2 wonderful grandkids, and they come around, and I need to take care of me, not just for me. I need to take care of me for my family. And so I hope this video is helpful to you. I hope there might be something from this you can use, or if you guys have done this yourself and you think I'm the only one that's ever made such a stupid mistake, well, you're not the only one. But I'm just thanking the Lord, and I'm thankful that He answers prayer, because I pray over my chainsaws, I pray over my vehicles. My wife and I, we pray over stuff. Stuff lasts longer. Refrigerators last longer when you talk to Him. And I really believe that these should have been burned up based on everything that I found. But He saw to it to take care of His servant and His child, and I want to give Him the glory for that. Thank you for watching. Appreciate everybody that's following us. Lisa and I mentioned the other day we were wanting to hit 300 subscribers. Y'all helped us do that. We've hit 300 subscribers, and now we're going to be shooting for 500. So tell all your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, tell your dog. Subscribe. We want to try to reach 500 subscribers. Thank you. I'll catch you on the next video.